SMART has always done some iteration of justice for all. We always believed from the bottom of our hearts that the change that we seek in our community is going to come from the bottom up. Justice for All has developed 4 pillars that our program is standing on: empowerment, advocacy, policy change, and disrupt and dismantle.
Justice for All, right now, I'm focused on empowering our families to advocate for themselves against injustices they may face. They feel racially profiled or just treated unjust in any system. They know the steps to take to get help and to get on the same playing field as everybody else.
I have 2 young boys that's one day gonna grow up to be George Floyd's age, so I wouldn't want that to happen to them. So it's good now that we get involved and try to educate not only ourselves, but also the police and everyone else involved, so we can try to put an end to this and make the world peaceful for everybody.
As a SMART from the Start leader, it's important to get my community, my friends, my family involved in the Justice for All movement, because it's going to take a whole team.
Justice for All Junior is really an opportunity for our youth to define what policies and what issues are important to them, and to help them learn how to lend their voices and raise their voices in a productive way to promote social change.
In this world, I was taught, a lot of people who come from where I come from or of my color, they have to work twice as hard just to keep up with a lot of people in society. I want all my work to pay off. I don't want to have to work twice or 3 times as hard as somebody else and then end up in the same place or even, behind them. So, I just feel like once that opportunity is given to everybody the same way, then we can fix everything else.
Us teens and Justice for All will make a change. You will see us one day.
So the whole idea of the pilgrimage came about as we were thinking about how best to empower and educate our youth and family leaders about the civil rights movement and the whole mission and movement towards racial and social justice. And what we realized is the 4 pillars that Justice for All sits on, empowerment, advocacy, policy change, and disrupt and dismantle the cradle to prison pipeline, are not new to the civil rights movement. That there is a long history and legacy of folks, heroes and ordinary folks who were engaged in this struggle and who were pushing and driving change on all 4 of those platforms. So there was something that is to be said about experiential learning and being in the place. Our kids are not learning true American history. And to see them almost square their shoulders as they learned, and really came to believe that slavery was not something for them to be ashamed of, that enslaved Africans were brilliant, beautiful, gifted human beings, and that there were so many other folks that pitched in to help bring about the social change that we were able to accomplish during all of these different iterations of the civil rights movement. And to watch our kids learn that and the pride that they should have in their history, in their heritage, and to really kind of equate that to the struggle for justice and equality today was it was an astounding thing to witness.
When we were chained up and acting as if we were slaves, just thinking about what they went through.
They get tied up around the neck, the hand, the waist, the foot. They do not wear any shoes. And I remember if someone speaks, the master would say something about The person in front of you get 15 lashes. The person in back of you get 30 lashes.
My favorite part, besides when we went to the slave trail, because that was just such a heartfelt moment, it would also be when we did the libation. I never knew that the first slave ship, the 1619 landing, I never knew that it was right there. We paid homage to our ancestors again, and that was very fun as well. But at the same time, we were also very serious because we had to acknowledge how much hard work they had to do so we could be to where we are right now.
My favorite adventure was the first day. We went to Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman had to leave and come back, rescue people, help people. She made it through. She's doing it for us.
The pilgrimage itself, it touched me internally. It did something for me as a father. It did something for me as an African-American man here in America. We learned a lot of things about ourselves through the eyes and the windows of our history, like the past that we were taught. It was just so riveting and so touching, like standing on those soils and those plantations. Like I felt the past. I felt the torment, the torture.
The Whitney plantation will forever be in my mind and forever be in my soul, because I would never want anybody to go through that type of pain or harm or have fear of being in that type of pain.
It opened my eyes to modern day slavery and the ways that how slavery isn't here, but it's still put into the system systematically, economically, politically. And it just opened my eyes and made me want to dig deeper into the way they try to hold us back in a sense. And also really push myself to go forward and achieve everything I want to achieve, do everything I want to do, and not let the color of my skin stop me or because I'm a woman stop me.
During the pilgrimage, I got to saw the bus that Rosa Parks was on, seeing her in the front seat and the driver telling her to get off, but she refused to get off.
One of the most eye-opening parts of the trip was driving down the road where Emmett Till was driven down before he was brutally murdered. And throughout that time, I just felt fear, wondering where I'm at, just confused. That fear of just being in such an unfamiliar place really got at me, and I can't imagine how Emmett Till had felt in that moment.
When I went to the Lorraine Motel, when I got there, I felt kind of empowered, because I was like, dang, I walked the same trail that Martin Luther King walked to get to his hotel. It's like, okay, this is really some high level stuff.
The lynching memorial that was in Alabama will also forever shape my future and how I see life.
They had a collection of the dirt and the soil that people were lynched on. And it was about more than 30 of them. Seeing all the soil where the people were lynched on, that was just really sad, because I couldn't believe that it was so many of them. I knew that people were getting lynched back in the day, but I didn't know that they were doing it that much, to the point where you could literally go around and collect soil, and it was in almost every state. So I didn't know those things.
And to know that they had to suffer those consequences makes me not want to ever be selfish when it comes to doing liberation work for other Black and brown people and people of color. Because at the end of the day, somebody stepped up for me, and I must step up for the next person or the future generations that are coming.
I wasn't expecting myself to break down the way I did, for sure. But there were definitely a few times that I broke down, specifically at the Equal Justice Initiative Museum, that was very, very, very eye-opening for me to see the actual writings from some of the people in jail, some of them as young as like 9 and 10 years old. The Equal Justice Initiative, they handle cases that have been dismissed and are believed to have been involved with some racial discrimination. I was really moved by the information they had shared as well as their own personal stories. And I want to switch my major in school from business management to criminal law.
I liked how you were walking just like the other people walked across the.
I just felt like I was overjoyed and I wanted to lead people like how they live, like in a march. I want to be a leader instead of a follower. If you're a follower, then you're just going to fall right behind people and do the wrong things.
The Edmund Pettus Bridge within itself was big for me. That bridge is symbolic to where I come from and where I'm headed to. To cross it, to walk over it, to stand on it, it was an elevating experience for me.
We also had a number of cultural and musical and food experiences. We were able to learn about what we've contributed and how great and how powerful we are, and how much of the United States as a culture is reflected upon us.
If I could do it again, I would, and I would bring a lot of people with me. You can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. So I felt like, you know, coming back home, it made me even more want to get into, you know, fighting for equality and justice and building my community up and seeing how I could be a better help within my community, instilling that into my kids and other kids whose lives I impact every day.
I believe in being a freedom fighter. No matter what generation you're in, you can always be a freedom fighter, and you can always go on to change the world no matter who you are.
The last thing I wanted to say was that a big thing that made me happy when I came home was that never turn your blackness down for nobody, because black is who you are and that is what you were born to be.
So what happens now? The pilgrimage wasn't just about this journey this summer. It really was about setting the stage for the future of Justice for All. A huge part of being leaders in the community and having this just amazing opportunity is to take what you learned, what you felt, what you got from this experience and to pay that forward. It's about building on the lessons learned of those whose shoulders we're standing on, those who fought the good fight for racial and social justice before us, about building the cohort of informed, engaged, and empowered youth and family leaders in our communities. And what that means is opening up this opportunity to other kids and families who are interested in continuing the fight for racial and social justice in our communities and giving them an opportunity to experience the pilgrimage as well.